In this section, we're going to look at sampling distribution of a sample proportion. A sampling distribution is taking repeated samples from the same population, calculating the statistic, and graphing that on a plot. So taking repeated samples, calculating our sample statistic, and then looking at the shape. We're going to look at where it's centered and the spread and so on, all the things we looked at before when we described our data. So in this section, we're going to focus on sample proportion, but we can do this with other statistics as well. So looking at sample proportions, we know that when we look at the number of successes, we have generally look at binomial distributions. So in order to change the number of successes to a proportion, we're simply going to divide it by the sample size. One thing we knew about the binomial distribution is as long as we have our fixed sample size and we're taking it from a large population, the sampling distribution of x is also approximately normal. So we had our rule of thumb, which was the n times p, and the n times q had to be at least 10. So that made sure that we had at least 10 expected successes and at least 10 expected failures. So if that is given, then x follows an approximately normal distribution with a mean equal to n times p and a standard deviation equal to the square root of n times p times q. In this section, we're now going to take our number of successes, our x, and we're going to change it to a sample proportion by dividing by the sample size. Now our notation for that is the p hat, which is our sample proportion. That's the number of successes in the sample divided by the total number. Now compare that with p, which is the population proportion. And we've looked at similar graphs to that before. Over here we have a sample size of 30 and population proportion of 0.5. So we know with that is a mean of n times p, which is 15. So we expect this to be centered at 15. So you can see 15 is the most common outcome. And then we have kind of a unimodal mound-shaped, approximately symmetric. And as long as n times p and n times q is at least 10, this is approximately normally distributed. So over here, we have both of those given. Now when we're looking at our sample proportion instead of the number of successes, we're simply going to take each one of these numbers divided by our sample size. So this would become 10 out of 30, this would become 20 out of 30, which is 2/3. The middle would be 15 out of 30, that's 1/2. And over here, this last one would be 30 out of 30, so we couldn't go beyond that. So you could see that when we're changing it from the number of successes to a sample proportion, our shape would be exactly the same, but our scale would change from the number of successes to the sample proportions instead. And when we're looking at our sampling distributions, we actually know what our population proportion is. We're simply going to take repeated samples and look at how they behave. So let's look at that on StatCrunch. We're going to go to the applets, the sampling distribution, and we are going to first look at binary, which would be where we would find our proportions. We're going to start with looking at 0.5, and we're going to hit compute over here. We will start by changing our sample size to 10, which is actually the illustration we have in our notes, very similar. And so we can take one sample. In our sample, this is going to pick our zeros and ones, and we end up with a sample proportion of 0.7. Then we do it again. And this time we have a sample proportion of 0.4. And maybe we want to speed up the process, and we're just going to do it 5 times over here. So this is looking at 5 samples at the same time, and it's going to put each one of these proportion. This looks like about 0.45 or 0.5, then 0.6, we have a 0.8, and so on. So the sampling distribution is really all possible samples of size 10, and I can speed this up. Now, the illustration in our notes, we only have 200 samples. Over here, my next option is to pick 1,000 samples at a time, so this is going to have a little larger sample size. But over here, you're going to see when I take 1,000 samples, it's going to be centered right at 0.5, which is my population proportion. And you can see that that's the most likely outcome, right? But I also had 0.6 a lot and 0.7 and 0.8. You know, it tapers down for those values. Same thing, like I had a lot of 0.4, but then it tapers down for 0.3 and 0.2. And very rarely do I get something like a 0. So that would be the same thing as, you know, tossing 10 coins and getting 0 heads, or on the other side on getting, you know, over here the most I got was like 9 heads. So that's kind of what the simulation is. So what do you suppose happens if I increase my sample size? What's going to happen to my distribution? Well, let's increase this to 20 over here. And again, I'm going to look at first one trial over here at a time, and it's going to calculate that sample proportion for me, and then I can look at 1,000 trials at once. When comparing these two distributions, you will notice again it is centered at 0.5. Again, it's mound-shaped, symmetric, unimodal, and hopefully you'll also see that it's a little more narrow, because most of the times when we have a larger sample size, we're going to expect around 10 successes, 10 failures, and it's going to be much more unusual to get, you know, 1 or 2 of those compared to with a sample size of 10. So when we go back to our lecture notes over here, we can see our illustration over here, and it says 200 students were directed to consider the distribution of a sample proportion from samples of 10 spins. So our sample size over here is 10, and then we did 200 trials. Just like in our experiment on StatCrunch, we did 1,000 trials. We just do that process 200 times, looking at spinning 10 coins, looking at the outcome, and recording it, and then recording the number of hits. We expect it to be centered right there at 0.5, because most of the times we should get about 0.5 heads and 0.5 tails. So it is centered right there, and it's most common to have values close to that. So it's really it really tapers off when we get further and further away from 0.5. Now, when we compare this with our second trial over here, again, we had 200 trials. This time we had a sample size of 20, and again, it is centered right there at 0.5. So when we compare these two distributions, we can say that they're both unimodal, right? One mode, mound-shaped, and symmetric. They're both centered at 0.5, which is the population proportion. So at the population proportion 0.5. What's different is that the second distribution has less spread than the first distribution. So what that means is when we're increasing our sample size, then we get a more narrow sampling distribution. Really important. So sampling distribution, we have a known population proportion over here. We're taking repeated samples from the same population. We graph our sample proportion. We look at that overall graph as a total. We can see that as long as we have a large enough sample size, and we have our rule of thumb, the n times p and the n times q, at least 10, we end up with an approximately normal distribution of our sampling distribution over here. So unimodal, mound-shaped, symmetric, centered at the population proportion. And if we're increasing our sample size, we end up with less spread.